Yeah, this is gonna be a thing for a while, so buckle up. Welcome to Ranger Reviews, a web series we look at episodes of the TV show Power Rangers and then discuss them. Today we're exploring the first episode of the show Power Rangers Turbo, as well as the 206th episode overall, titled Shifting the Turbo Part 1. We begin this episode on a distant planet somewhere where everything is green. We see Divatox, who is now played by a different actress, speaking to a large group of foot soldiers that are definitely different from the ones that we saw in the movie. She's telling them how she's worth every moment of this as she waves. Then she calls for silence, telling everyone that they all know the reason why they are gathered. She also refers to the foot soldiers as Piranhatrons. She plans to avenge her plan to dominate the universe that went south thanks to the Power Rangers. Elgar is there with Rygog saying something to a new villain, Porto. Also, Elgar is still smoking from being thrown into the lava, so I guess that's some sort of continuity. At the Angel Grove High School senior graduation ceremony, we're finally leaving high school. Tanya and Kat are walking together and they mention how the botanical gardens were a great choice for the ceremony, and Kat laments that Tommy can't be there because he's working on his uncle's stock car crew. What? Tommy likes racing now? They meet up with Adam, who's carrying chairs, and he points out that Tommy already picked up his diploma. Imagine being Tommy's parents, and they're finally ready to watch their little boy walk across the stage, and this little shit says, "Screw that, I want to drive fast." Then we see Tommy driving a race car to a lame, generic 90s song. They're trying so hard to make this look like so cool that Tommy's like doing this now, but it honestly isn't. He passes two people and they talk about how awesome Tommy is and how big his dick must be. This is like way less impressive when you realize he used to drive like a giant dragon and like a tiger before. Meanwhile, back on that other planet, Divatox tells everyone that she needs a crew of her best warriors for her mission to Earth. She chooses Rygog, making him second in command to help navigate them. She will also select an elite battalion of soldiers. Then chooses Porto to be the technical advisor. Elgar is also there, screaming to be chosen, and Divatox does so unwillingly. But then she says that Elgar still smells bad because he's still burning. She says she'll bring him just because she doesn't want him out of her sight for too long. She tells the Piranhatrons that she'll call them as she needs them. Time to move out via the subcraft. Kat finishes the podium and her and the others talk to Rocky. Who let you back on this show? Rocky wants to hear the rest of the story about the movie, and they say they're going to wait on Justin because he wants to tell Rocky all about it. They also say that Justin is taking a placement test for school, and Kat laments that he's probably really dumb from moving around all the time. Then we see that Justin is in the study hall, and he finishes his test very quickly, and he gives it to Miss Appleby. After she tries to convince him to double check his answers, he just gives her the test and leaves. She seems impressed by his scores initially. The subcraft leaves the planet's water, and we see the bridge from the movie again, but this time it seems like less impressive. Could be a camera quality thing, or could just be a totally different set. Then Divatox gets creepy by telling Elgar to go faster. Faster. Stop speaking like that to your nephew. We see Bulk and Skull are in a parking lot, and they're still police officers. Didn't we drop that? Also, Skull's hair is like way out of control for being a police officer. They have to ticket 50 cars by the end of the day, but there's no cars around. Justin then shows up with the others and he starts telling Rocky about how they fought stuff, and man, it's getting kind of real here that there's actually a 12-year-old Power Ranger now. Stone is telling Bulk and Skull how they need to ticket cars again for some reason, and this entire time Divatox's ship is landing in the lake behind them. Stone tells him to come to the Angel Grove Energy Center because of some security issue, and he leaves just as the subcraft submerges. They decide to keep their mouths shut and go. On the ship, Divatox is telling everyone to get back to work as she rehashes how the Power Rangers are evil for ruining her almost wedding. She also tells the Rangers to have fun with their college applications, which is funny because, spoiler alert, none of these dweebs are actually going to college. Adam, Tanya, Kat, and Justin tell Rocky all about their movie adventure with flashbacks to the movie. Hey, it's Tommy, remember him? This also goes on for a lot longer than necessary. It's almost like they didn't intend for this to be a true 3-part opener, huh? Also, funny how no one mentions Jason because he was on the team like a day ago. Like, we see him and Kim briefly, but that's it. A full 3 minutes later, Rocky says how awesome that adventure sounds, and asks what happened to Divatox. They say that she probably just went back to wherever she came from anyways. Rocky then lets Justin know that he doesn't want the powers back because he wants to work on his karate school. Then the Rangers get beeped and Alpha calls them, letting them know that he needs them to come to the power chamber right away. But then he laughs. They wonder what that's about, so the four leave poor Rocky all alone on the ground. Divatox is talking to Porto about their plan, and Porto has made an implosion device, aka a freaking bomb, that will go off in 60 minutes. Why not like 30 seconds? You guys can teleport. Rygog asks if there's going to be enough to blow up the power plant, and Porto says yeah. Divatox's plan is to make the city black out during the graduation ceremony. They're outside. In the power chamber, Alpha made a cake for the graduating Rangers, and Zordon says he's never been more proud of them. Yeah, I'm proud too, because they must have done like the bare minimum in order to pass and graduate thanks to Zordon. Kat is worried that she'll forget her speech. Girl, get a note card. Justin's gonna stay back and work with Alpha with some telecommunication systems. The others leave and Justin tries to touch the cake and Alpha chastises him. Bulk and Skull are at the power plant, and as soon as they leave frame, Porto and Elgar show up. Porto tells Elgar what to do and gives Elgar a changer laser in case he runs into any trouble. Then he walks in and he finds Bulk and Skull, who are freaking out. I love Elgar's attitude about this, by the way. He tells them to move or they're gonna get blasted, and Bulk and Skull are really panicky. They then try to bust out some moves from their last class at the academy. Bulk asks, "Now what do you say?" And Elgar says, "I say, you lose," and he blasts them. Elgar's hands down my favorite villain. Then Bulk and Skull turn into monkeys. Elgar laughs at this and he says, "See ya," leaving. Elgar finds a spot to put the bomb down at, and he turns it on, creating a countdown from 60 minutes. Elgar is then confused as to how to get out of the place. Monkey Bulk and Monkey Skull are talking to each other. This seems to be a thing that only they can understand from each other. They try to call for backup because of the alien. We then see two cops getting the message, but it's just two monkeys screaming. They then decide it's just a couple of kids messing around, so they just turn off their damn radio because nothing ever happens on this shift anyways. You live in Angel Grove! In the power chamber, the monkey screams are echoing over the room for some reason. Alpha says that it's a transmission coming from the power plant, and Justin is going to go check it out on his way to the graduation ceremony. He leaves, arriving at the power plant. There, Justin finds Bulk and Skull, and he's super confused as to why there's just monkeys there. Then Elgar is walking around confused about where the hell he is. Again, you can teleport. And Justin says, "Elgar!" And he hides the monkeys, telling them to shut up. Since Justin referred to them as monkeys, this is actually how Bulk and Skull realize that they are monkeys. They decide to not listen to Justin and to leave for Ernie's to get bananas. Justin chases after them, but this is when Elgar turns around and sees him. Elgar then takes out a badass playing card sword, and the two talk crap to each other. Elgar even says, "Didn't you used to be bigger?" They then start fighting and Justin is holding his own well enough, but it's to be continued. I'm really confused about how I feel about this episode. It certainly feels like a lot of nothing. I mean, Tommy maybe says a single line the entire episode, and he's only in about 3% of it. He's on screen longer in movie flashback stuff. Justin's a really cringy character at this point, and that isn't a slight to the actor of all. If anything, it's to the writers. We'll eventually see how he develops over the season, but right now, it's feeling like he's just meant to be like a shtick more than a character. Realistically, the only thing that happened in this episode is setup. I mean, we didn't even get a freaking morph. The only fight we got was a 12-year-old boy versus a monster. This episode just really depends on a lot of the other parts of the three-parter to justify whether it was good or bad, but for now, I'll just say it's somewhere in between. I will say though, I'm glad to see the Rangers graduating, though this does insinuate that they were freshmen in season 1 of Mighty Morphin, but we know that's not true because they were driving cars by like episode 10, so whatever. Can't really make sense of it. So you just have to accept it and move on. So how will this premiere continue? Will we actually see a Ranger morph in the next episode? Find out next time, but until then, may the power protect you.